ball knocked loose. White dive on it.
This is twice now the Celtics have been first to the floor.
They try to save with Horford. Unbelievable.
Boston first to the floor. So good.
Brown fakes, fires up the three. Bang! Tatum dives on the floor. Everybody dives. Jaylen Brown with the flush. Blocked by Porzingis. He's doing it all. Tatum spinning, driving, layup. Washington drives. Blocked by White. Oh, what a block from Derek White.
All right, welcome in. First to the Floor podcast. Ben Vallis here, along with a couple of guys on Cloud 9, thanks to the Boston Celtics just being way more awesome than we could have possibly imagined. And that's what the show's going to be all about, the top 10 awesome, unimaginably great things about the Boston Celtics in the present day. Joining me, Wayne Spooney, Jake Eisenberg. Guys, it's been a minute. How we doing?
So good.
Whew. Yeah, this is the when First the Floor is at their peak. Like we can pod through anything, but man, when the Celtics are exceeding expectations and it's coming in the form of Walshy, and I keep seeing people saying that we need to find a nickname for Jordan Walsh. We have the nickname. It's Walshy. The next step is to get it transferred into a chant in the stadium, and Walshy is the perfect chant name. A 2-syllable name is perfect. You got like just Walshy, the simple, or my personal favorite, Walshy.
Yes.
Walshy. Like if that starts and that becomes a thing, he's literally gonna have his jersey retired by the end of the season.
I'm ready to retire it. Yeah, right now. Let's do it.
Yeah.
He's been so great. He's been so fun. Transformed this team. And dude, they're just playing like really entertaining basketball. Like they're just flying around. They're playing really hard. This is a very easy team to love. And you're right. You guys are right, man. Like this is when I feel like we're flying around. The Celtics are flying around. The vibes are good. And like now I'm looking at like center trades, backup center trades. Like what can we add before Tatum gets back? It's good times.
I believe it was between when Mark Tatum called out Jordan Walsh's name and when Jordan Walsh arrived at the podium that we anointed him Walshy, and it's been Walshy ever since. So I don't know why it's in any doubt. It's definitely Walshy, but look, so 10-ish incredible, unimaginable things about the current Celtics. That is coming up at first. The Celtics, guys, they blew out, then fell behind 2, and then beat comfortably in the end the Toronto Raptors on the road last night. Spoony, Jake, thoughts on this one?
I had a funny viewing experience of this one because I usually avoid the score and I'm watching on delay, but I was trying to check the NFL scores and I accidentally saw just the Celtics total. So like when I'm watching the game back, I knew they scored 121 points. And like before the game, that's great. But then they put up like close to 80 in the first half. And I'm like, uh-oh, that means there's like a drought at some point coming, which means I became so invested on the defensive end for the second half because I was like, there's a target score that the Raptors cannot get to. And that's how I viewed the entire game pretty much, which is so weird. But really impressive win. And obviously you want them to just win the game by 20 plus, and that's like where the dominant buzzsaw. But more impressive to me is that you go up 20, the Raptors come all the way back to the point of taking the lead. Yeah. And then you don't just win the game, but you like comfortably win the game. You like tighten the screws in the fourth quarter, defense clamps down, and then Derek White goes peak, like signature vintage clutch mode. And oh boy, was it a night.
Dude, that logo 3 he hit we needed it bad too was absolutely ridiculous. Get the wheelbarrow out because he needs help carrying these things around, man. Like that was crazy. He was awesome, but to me, like Jaylen has just been so damn good, and last night was absolutely no exception. Another 30-piece, massive plus minus, 8 boards, 5 assists, 2 stocks. two turnovers in the fourth quarter, but my recollection is one of those was when we had kind of already regained the lead and didn't really hurt us. He's just playing extraordinarily high level basketball. I think we should talk about who's better between him and Tatum no, okay, we'll pause on that conversation. But he's just playing great basketball, and like him and White both had combined for 16 points in the fourth quarter. So like large part to them and Pritchard that we won this game, took it back over, and those three they've been. All three of those guys have played huge minutes in the finals. Sorry, Toronto. Game 24 in Toronto is not phasing these dudes.
No, absolutely not. And we shot 42% from three on 47 attempts. Jordan Walsh, 50% from three individually. Pretty good. Jaylen Brown, 75% from three. It's a great margins game, though. Like overall, +4 on shot attempts, +25 on 3-point attempts. Are you kidding, Toronto? Like, maybe get a few more up. I know it's like cringe apparently across the rest of the league for the Celtics to shoot so many threes, but you get a bunch of them up, you shoot a decent click, and like suddenly you're winning by quite a lot. And +9 in stocks as well. Thanks in part to Jordan Walsh's incredible like 3 steals in 0 minutes or whatever it was to begin the game as well, which was incredible. 17-4 on second chance points. And Peyton Pritchard, PP, he won the dick measuring contest against Grady Dick. Unanimous decision by the judges. PP by a mile, out-girthing Grady Dick. You'd love to see it.
Yeah, look, Grady Dick. I mean, he barely got a chance to show himself to the world within his 7.5 minutes yesterday.
Open the trench coat, so to speak.
Exactly. Got to give the man a chance. The thing that's really stuck out to me the last couple of games, and especially in that first half, is that like, and Jaylen has really harped on this in his post-game press conferences when we were struggling, and now when they're playing well as well, is like we've got not only a bunch of young guys, not only a bunch of new teammates, but we're bringing in guys that are young and barely played in the NBA before. It was going to take time, and we didn't talk that much about that, I feel like. And maybe we should have talked a little bit more about that possibility, but I guess we were kind of more stuck on the like truly unproven guys, and the likelihood of those guys actually hitting is just low. But in any context, youth plus not having continuity, you would expect them to kind of grow into it as the season has gone along. And that's what I've really felt in the past couple of weeks. Even after they blew the lead, there was that possession where the Pritchard catches it, drives, swings it to Derek White, who pumps and then like takes a step to the right. Defense comes. Meanwhile, Pritchard's just like looping around him, relocating, and Derek like pumps and hits a no look pass to him, like kind of right in his pocket, and then Pritchard hits it. And I'm like, that was such a good execution play down the stretch against a tough defense. I was like, that was a big moment to me. I'm like, these guys are just playing at a high level and comfortable with what they're trying to get into possession after possession on both ends. And I think that's why they're racking up wins now.
We're also just winning the intensity battle as well. Like outside of the end of the third quarter, start of the fourth quarter, that Raptor run last night, I think our defense gets into rotation more this year, but like, does that even matter if you're going to rotate and close out? Like your fucking life depends on it, which seems to be what these young guys are doing for Joe Mazzulla. I think we kind of need to go easy on ourselves as Celtics fans for like not being swept up in like, oh, this team's going to be amazing. Like definitely don't tank earlier in the year, because we came down from these lofty heights of like our 5th best player in the starting lineup, depending on Kristaps Porzingis' health, is Drew Holiday or Derek White or something like that. And suddenly we're like, fuck, like who is our 4th best player in the starting lineup? So like cut yourself some slack, I think, Celtics fans, for not being swept up in what this team could be. It's amazing the level that they've gotten to, and that's why we're here. Like the exceeding of expectations is incredibly fun, and we're riding the wave now. But I think people need to go easy on themselves and the Celtics peers at this point in time.
It's a great
Be
point,
kind
Ben.
to yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a great point. As one of the people who thought they would be worse than this. I'm going to take that advice. Man, like, and Jake, you said it, they needed to gel. Like the Raptors top 10 defense, and they dropped 121 on them. They had a very, very nice offensive game. They're just really dialed in. Scal's been calling it out a couple times a game where he's just like, man, these guys are playing just really good basketball. There was one possession, it was ridiculous. It had kind of broke down. Like the ball movement was good, the people movement was good, but like the Raptors defended it really well. And Pritchard just slings it to Keita and curls behind him, and Keita just like pitches it no look back to Pritchard, and he just like flies downhill. I can't remember if he kicked it for a three or he made the layup, but like these guys don't even have to look at each other. They just know where each other's going at this time, especially the guys who have been here for a while. And to me, that like chemistry is just going to be really difficult to beat in the regular season because you don't have time to game plan. You don't scheme team by team really in the regular season, and you couple like we're playing really well together and playing hard. We're gonna sniff 50 wins. I really think so.
Woo!
Are we not on pace for that?
Pretty close, maybe at this
Pretty
point.
close.
Well,
Yeah.
especially, I mean, if you take out the first 3 games, we're on pace for close. Like we're playing at a 60 win pace, pretty much, which is now like a 21 game sample, and we are in like the ebbs and flows of the NBA season are the ebbs and flows of the NBA season. Even like the previous 2 seasons where we won 64 and 61 games, like there was individual months in those seasons where we have to keep convincing ourselves that nothing is wrong, which is the correct thing. And that's just kind of how the reality of an 82 game season, like there's going to be ebbs and flows, whether it's injury, shooting slumps, schedule related. So that's going to happen, but the East is just not good enough, I think, to keep the win total down if we stay relatively healthy. Like Jalen's playing as well as anybody in the conference. I don't think that's like a hot take at all. I think Giannis isn't playing right now. Maxi's been awesome. Cade's probably got the belt, I would say, for the conference right this season. Giannis pending injury, and then Jalen is right there. And you have that plus the infrastructure and this wing depth all of a sudden, plus the Missoula, like his just focus on the details. And Ben, you kind of came in with the margins earlier on the pod. The team is mathing their way to being good. It's just like not turning the ball over and winning the offensive rebounding battle most nights. And I was listening to Timph and Vicini today talking about the Celtics, and Timph was saying like, while they're giving up lots of defensive rebounds, when they do that, then they swarm the players that do get the defensive rebounds and either force tougher shots or end up getting a steal. So like they end up winning the second chance points battle most nights, despite being bottom 5 in defensive rebounding percentage. And that's just like Missoula finding a way to counteract or like lessen the blow of their Achilles heel that we harped on so much. It's just really fucking good coaching and great leadership, top to bottom, buy-in. Yeah, fucking let's go, boys.
Did you guys notice this down the stretch of the Raptors game as we sort of dug ourselves out of that mini hole? I need to rewatch it, which is why I'm asking you. But Eric Weiss had this in the first of the floor Discord that the Celtics went to a flex zone, which is this Spoody, you might know about this, Jake. I'm less of an X's and O's guys than you guys, but it's like a zone variation where the defender closest to the point of attack like comes out, like flexes out to defend the point of attack or the ball handler, while the remaining 4 defenders form this like square tight zone, like around the paint, essentially. Did you guys notice this at all? Eric Weiss is calling this out as a key defensive change up for the Celtics.
Yeah. I think we were running it out of a 2-1-2, right? And Walshy at times was the guy in the middle. And essentially, like if there's a pick and roll on the right side, the guy at the top of the 2 goes and defends the point of attack, and then Walshy essentially defends the screener, but then you kind of zone up from there. And also, if you blow a coverage, then you just switch to man. There were several possessions where we started in zone, it didn't work, and they switched up to man. The Warriors were doing this a ton a couple years ago, but it's really, really friggin' hard to get right. But when you do get it right, it's super hard to attack because you don't, as an offensive player, don't really know what you're attacking, right? Because you attack a zone and you attack man differently fundamentally. Zones you try to overload. Often man-to-man, you want to empty aside and give your guys space. And like, so the Celtics were executing it, and like that, you got to have dudes on an absolute string. And to your guys' point, it just goes to the way Joe has these dudes playing basketball. Even the new guys, even Simons, for all his faults, at least is like rotating on the weak side appropriately. Like he had a really great rotation, had to get to the big man, got there, hands up, rule of verticality. Pirtle finished right over him, but it's like, hey, you're in the right spot, you're making the right rotation, and that is Missoula. I mean, it really, and Jalen and Derek being the leaders of the team, but it starts with Joe.
It's so fucking good, man. Like,
Yeah,
the show,
it is.
It started because of this need to like somehow like catch this emotional overflow for how we were all feeling about the Celtics, and then post Tatum injury. 0-3 start. There was a period of time with that the emotional overflow. I'm sure everyone watching, listening, and you guys could all relate that was just not there. And now it is like cup of fucking overflow. It's all the way back. We're catching it with our hands, trying to figure out what to do with it. Back on the pod. It's a lot of fun. So it's so exciting to see the quick turnaround back to that sort of emotional state from the Celtics fan perspective. So love to see it. When we come back, 10 unimaginably cool things about the Celtics as of the present day, in no particular order. But first, a quick word from our friends over at Prize Picks.
It's Prize Picks time. Derek White's back. Jaylen Brown. Look, let's just go more on Jaylen Brown points. Like, they're not going to set this thing at 30. And 30, just lock that in. We got the Bucks coming up next. You know who went nuts against the Bucks in every game last year? Peyton Pritchard. Give me more on Peyton Pritchard points. Give me more Jaylen Brown points. Give me more Jordan Walsh rebounds against the Bucks. They don't want any part of this NBA season right now. So let's just keep riding these boys, and then obviously we've got the AFC East belt showdown coming. So Drake May, Josh Allen, I think going more on both those guys on this Sunday is probably going to be a good move. MVP snatching opportunity for Drake, AFC East title clinching game for the Patriots. Biggest game in Foxborough in a very, very long time. Celtics are rolling, Patriots are rolling. Feels good. Why not sprinkle a little extra juice? Use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Download the app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. It's good to be right.
Good to be right. It's good to be right about Jordan Walsh, guys. We were right all along. Took a little while,
right.
But shout out Prize Picks. Great way to supplement and enhance your hoops or general sport viewing experience. Now, these 10 things, I did get to like 7 quite easily, and then really have to like flesh out the remaining 3. So we'll speed round those 3 at the end. And I think we're just going to keep it casual here. Jake, you have referred to this kind of vibe as Celtics exceptionalism in the past. So it's really, we're just pausing to celebrate how unbelievably good and unexpectedly good these Celtics are. And a lot of this is just straight up stolen from other people's Twitter accounts and Reddit. And we're going to start with one from our good friend, Dan Greenberg, who had the tweet today. The Celtics defensive rating is 17th in the NBA, which on the surface kind of sucks. Then you look a little closer and you were kind of touching on this earlier, Jake, from the Game Theory podcast, where Vecini kind of had like sort of variations of this. So third in the NBA in opponent points, third in the NBA in opponent field goal percentage, second in the NBA in opponent points in the paint, sixth in the NBA in opponent fast break points, fifth in opponent plus minus. I'm not going to read out the rest, but essentially the point is they've got all these sort of supplementary stats that don't holistically make for this incredible defensive rating, but results-wise, they bear out in that like they are fucking beating people essentially. Thoughts, guys?
Yeah, the Achilles heel of the defensive rebounding is the only thing that's keeping it from being a top 10 unit. And I see some people in the chat talking about rumors about getting Mo Gay from the Hawks, and I like Mo Gay. He would be a big upgrade on the current big man rotation, and in theory should be cheap. I don't really understand why the Hawks are trading him really, but back to Celtic exceptionalism. Why not? Things tend to work out for us. So if they're willing to give him to us for no reason, please head on over. But yeah, I do wonder if there is, how long does this need to go on? How does Tatum progress with his Achilles to where Brad Stevens is like gone from I was not going to make any moves, really just let this thing play out, keep all your powder dry, to there's a very clear weakness to like really one weakness to this team right now holistically is the defensive rebounding. Like if they could move that into like 13th, well not in 13th, they're currently like top bottom 5. If they could move it into middle of the pack in the defensive rebounding category, which Tatum will definitely help, but just like another big man,
Yeah.
it would drastically improve this team in a way that would basically make them the best team in the Eastern Conference. So maybe Brad will just do that. Who's really good at rebounding? I saw Luke Cornett, Jayson Tatum, bring him back.
The Cornet would be so money on this version of the team, dude, with the way we're kind of moving people offensively. So I can't decide whether being really good at first shot defense and terrible at defensive rebounding is a recipe for success in the playoffs or a recipe of like the rebounding is going to get even worse because teams are going to try harder or as hard as you are, which is maybe where I lean. But I think, like, to your point, Jake, Tatum solves this issue essentially. And so if you just combine that elite first shot defense with a potentially healthy Jayson Tatum, all of a sudden, like, where is this defense going to be? And maybe it's middle of the road, top 10. You know, if you're top 10 in both, that's kind of the rule of thumb for a good to great playoff team. And like, the offense is in such a place that I'm not sure if it'll be good in the playoffs, but Jaylen Brown is playoff proof. Like, he can get his shot whenever he wants. So to me, it really rides on the ceiling of this team is on the defense. And it happens to be a guy who can kind of solve the primary issue. So I don't know. I mean, it's kind of bizarre having a great defense that also sucks. I've never really seen anything like it.
Absolutely. It's the old, like, we can't replace last year's defensive rating, but we can rebuild it in the aggregate, essentially, which is what they're doing here. The next one, so Jack Simone had this on Twitter. Jordan Walsh, again, I'm not going to read all of these out. If you're watching, basically Jordan Walsh versus your non-Celtics fan friend's favorite player, completely locking them the fuck up and limiting them to incredibly poor field goal efficiency. I think, so Jack Simone had this on Twitter, but like a couple of notable ones rather. Donovan Mitchell, 2 of 8 when guarded by Walshy. Cade Cunningham, 0 of 6 when guarded by Walshy. Austin Reeves recently, 0 of 3. And then like Jaren Jackson Jr., who like you would think could use his height and dimensions to get a couple up and over Walshy. No, you cannot. So Jordan Walsh, incredibly defensively. We've got obviously some highlight footage here of Walshy just locking up your favorite NBA players as well. But I know that you and I have been on the Walshy train. You guys and I rather have been on the Walshy train since the beginning.
I was like, who are you leaving out?
Yeah.
Whoa.
I'm just too excited about Jordan Walsh. I cannot speak. And you know, sometimes, admittedly, I think we've all said it, like, that has been somewhat ironically. And now he's absolutely here, and the dimensions that we've sort of, you know, been flexing on this show for a while have finally come to fruition. But I don't know how to like palm this off to you guys with a question, but like, are you surprised? Can you believe that we're here? Is the ceiling going to keep raising? Like, where do you see this going?
Yes, I'm surprised. He went from us wondering if they were going to guarantee his contract to like, if he reaches the minutes requirement, he will have a case to make all defense. That's a pretty big gap all of a sudden. And he's 21. Like, I really want him and Ugo and Minot to get on the Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Avengers physical weightlifting conditioning program, because and he probably, like, Walsh has probably gotten bigger. It's just hard to kind of tell. We haven't been as locked in on the muscle watch when it comes to Jordan Walsh as we have with Jayson Tatum. But like, if he's able to also just get stronger as well. But yeah, the defense of Walsh, like, it really started with that Maxey performance against the Sixers, where it was like possession after possession after possession after possession. And it just felt like from there it's been liftoff.
Yeah, dude. The way he he has learned the art of the rear view contest from Derek White, who is the best in the league at that. And he's way longer than Derek White, so he's even better at it. I think a lot of those clips come with Kata playing perfect drop defense, allowing Walsh to either rear view contest or I don't know how he does it, but like you cannot put him in jail where the pick and roll ball handler kind of keeps you on like almost boxes you out while they're dribbling. He just slithers around that. I don't know how he does it, but he did it to Maxey multiple times. He did it to Austin Reeves the entire night when he was on him. And that is like the sign of there is something extraordinarily special here defensively. And yes, I would say I'm quite surprised, although like the tape,
what has happened
like,
overnight? It just was like,
that's
now
what's
he's
so
elite.
weird. It's like he looked bad to start the season, and we're like, damn, the dream is dead. And then he's like, I'll just guard Tyrese Maxey and completely lock him up. And then it just hasn't stopped from there. But it just goes to show you, like, confidence is huge, man. It really does change a lot of things. And like we saw it with Neesmith going over it to Indiana, where they were like, you're just going to play and don't worry about it. And he turned into a very solid, I'll say it, a great player. And Walshy has this opportunity, and it's like, go nuts, buddy. What you're providing, we're going to eat your mistakes. And there's not that many of them. And then like offensively, I trust he's going to make open threes, and I trust he can drive closeouts and make the right decision. And that is all you need.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned Aaron Neesmith. I've got a question off to Jayson Tatum when he was on the Morris Twins live stream recently, and I was like, can you just tell me your thoughts, tell me everything about Jordan Walsh. And he made the comp to Aaron Neesmith along the lines of like, there's so much talent in the league. There's so many guys that if they're just given the opportunity and a slightly longer leash and freedom to go out there and make mistakes and operate with a little bit of confidence because of that extra bandwidth, like coaching allowance, if you want to call it that, they will rise to the occasion. And Aaron Neesmith was one of those guys, and now we're seeing that with Jordan Walsh. And then he moved on and didn't elaborate any further, somewhat disappointingly. But I can elaborate. So Jordan Walsh, 93rd percentile in Darko defensive daily plus minus, which is, according to multiple websites, the ultimate individual defensive evaluation stat. Apparently it's a pretty short list of like good stats to apply to individual defense. 93rd percentile, quite good. 97th percentile in block percentage for his position per cleaning the glass. Also on the other side of the ball, last 5 games has a true shooting percentage of 88% and 77% in the past 10 games. It's like big sample size of just like puts the fucking round orange ball in the basket, which we love to see as fans of the game. And he's playing 28 minutes a game as well. So it's not like he's just like coming out there, hitting a few shots, getting high percentages and going back to the bench. He's like, there's a lot of sample size, there's a lot of usage, and he's like straight up being fucking amazing. And I just cannot believe we're here.
It's really wild, dude. He barely missed a shot in like 4 games.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, in the Raptors game, he was 4 for 8, which is disgusting compared to his previous 3 games where he was like 4 for 4, 8 for 8, 6 for 7. Game before that, 4 for 7 against Cleveland. Yeah, the 3-point shot, he's definitely getting more confident with it. And the confidence is just growing so much. There was a play yesterday where he should have swung it to Anthony Simons in the corner, like so obviously. And I was like, oh, are we getting the like too much confidence from Jordan Walsh? But then like on that same possession, he ended up crashing and having like a crazy offensive rebound putback dunk. I was like, oh, well, made up for it after making the mistake. So yeah, he's playing really well. And one of my favorite subplots is like how much Jalen seems to be enjoying the growth of Jordan Walsh as well. Cause like Minot it's great that he's playing well as well. And that's another example of like this opportunity thing that you're talking about with Neesmith. And it's like Josh Minot was never given a chance in Minnesota, and now he does get his chance. And it's like, oh, this dude's been like one of the most versatile defenders in the NBA this season, and is shooting 50% from 3.
I cannot believe that either.
And he plays for the Boston Celtics, so of course. But yeah, like I forget exactly what I was saying about Walsh all of a sudden, but
confidence.
Yeah, they definitely has kind of turned a corner when it comes to confidence. But yeah, seeing Jaylen Brown excited by these guys. Oh, that's right, because Jalen's been here since he was drafted, and it's really so full circle as Celtics fans, and it must be kind of surreal for Jalen to an extent as well. Like, we're all in our 30s and we all still feel like we're probably 19 at heart at times. And Jaylen Brown is younger than us. And like, you come in the league so young and everybody feels they've been going toe to toe with like the best players for so long, and people have probably seemed so much older. And now Jalen's 29 and he's like this grizzled veteran that gets to be a proud dad of watching Jordan Walsh go like through multiple seasons of the G League, not getting minutes. And now he's like a huge catalyst for the Celtics making this run. It must be, he's not must be, he's like he's actually streaming live. So shout out everybody being here right now. Don't leave now that I said that.
I gotta go, guys. Sorry.
Yeah.
But,
Catch
the Jalen replay. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. We get all the clips, the highlights anyway. But he's like up there just talking about how much he loves Jordan. He's basically like us. Come on the show, Jalen.
Yeah, come on. Really quick. Have you seen the defensive field goal percentage numbers for Jordan Walsh?
No. You would think I would
If you shoot a 2-pointer and you are guarded by Jordan Walsh, your field goal percentage drops 10 percentage points from 66.7 to 54. That's elite. If you shoot a 3-pointer, your field goal percentage drops 8.4 percentage points. Overall, you shoot 8.3 percentage points worse if you are guarded by Jordan Walsh than if you were guarded by an average defender. That is fucking ridiculous. And he is borderline an elite rim protector because you shoot 7.5 percentage points worse if Jordan Walsh guards you at the rim, and he is 6'5". He's just nasty, dude. And this is amazing. And I feel also like Jaylen Brown because we've been in since day one. And this is the only way I'm anything like Jaylen Brown, is that we're both very proud of Jordan Walsh. Otherwise, we talked about it last show, Jake. He's cool, has muscles, and I'm a lame nerd.
Doesn't hurt his back sleeping like I do.
Yeah. My neck is just constantly in pain, so it's great.
Yeah, not being on the pod for the last month has been so painful. Just not being able to involve myself in the Walsh, and no one in my life knows about Jordan Walsh, cares about who he is. So it's just good to be back on talking about Jordan Walsh. We've spent a gloriously long time talking about Walshy, which I love to see it for legitimate reasons as well. Before we move on to our next one, we've got a nice group of people here. Please like the stream. Please subscribe. Please do all the engagement things that put us in good favor with the algorithm. Would mean a lot to us if you would do that. So please hit that like button. Okay, next one. This is a big one. This happened earlier today. Social media. Jayson Tatum. Fingers crossed. Soon. We joked. Does that mean he's going around to Nick Sang's place for dinner later? Soon? Is that what it is? Or much more likely, and there was a Boston.com article aggregating a Bill Simmons podcast where Bill Simmons talked about he's never been more confident that Jayson Tatum is coming back. Obviously, we're here celebrating how amazing the Jayson Tatumless current day Celtics are. The notion of having JT back on this team seems like we're getting more and more continual indications that he will be back. So we haven't talked about this one in a little while, guys, but I don't know. It's very speculative, but do we think he's coming back? And do you feel it'll be a smooth integration, back into the team who have changed direction in many, many ways on the court since he's been gone?
Well, I do think that it's been purposeful from Tatum from when the season started to not make this a constant conversation. Before the season started, we had those multiple videos, right? We had the video of him dunking. We had the cut up of him working out up and down the court, him saying, "I'm rusty as hell." And then it's that's just going to be a constant distraction from this team if I'm kind of putting that kind of content out there. So I really low-key kind of a good leadership thing to not do that. So the fact that he's done this post, I do think is quite notable. I've been pretty consistent in that I think that he's coming back in that after the All-Star break. That's been my prediction. I'd be pretty surprised if he doesn't come back at all, unless we're really out of it. That's been the argument for him not coming back. Is that if we end up being on track for 39 wins, then and the team's just not good enough, then don't come back. Now it's dude, he could bring us to help us go to the fucking finals. And so, what are you guys' thoughts? I have a very important kind of fact to tell you about Achilles stuff after this.
Okay, I can't wait to hear that. But Look,
Teaser.
to your point, Jake, I was always on team don't come back because I assumed we'd be like floating around 500, and it's like there's just not a lot of point. If this team is good, he's gonna come back. He's gonna play. And the beauty about Jayson Tatum is that he is good at every single thing basketball wise. There might be a little bit of weirdness as he's like not 100%, and maybe he'll try to take the reins of the offense a little bit. But for the most part, he is just plug and play with any other 4 people on the planet, and he will give the game what it needs. And I think he's probably seeing the way these guys are playing, and I can't imagine he's going to be like, nope, I'm going to disrupt this and completely change it. Like, he's going to come in and be like, let's do this. Let's play how we've been playing, and let's, go to the finals. And that is a chance. There is a chance of that happening. So I definitely think he's coming back. And I think the first couple games will probably be a little janky, and he's going to figure it out, and they'll figure it out, and they'll be a better team for it, for sure.
Yeah, there's going to be mostly like, I think Boston radio who are like, Jayson Tatum's going to bring all these problems, all
Gonna
these
ruin
like,
the team.
slow down, like clogged toilet offense problems back to the Celtics. And like, because like one of the reasons our prior offenses have been so successful, we know this, it's been well documented. Essentially, give Jayson Tatum the ball, wait for the defense to do something stupid, to overreact, and then like draw the double, make the play. We've said it 1,000 times, and like that is just not possible in the current iteration of the Celtics roster and offensive play style. Jayson Tatum, personality-wise, I don't think has ever exhibited anything to me to suggest that he won't come back in within the flow of what's been working for the Celtics, especially early on when like this has been working. I need to reintegrate myself. I'm probably and understandably not going to be 100% of myself, even if not physically, but just like mentally and in terms of like being in the flow of the game and conditioning wise and things like that. I'm not going to come in and demand the ball and change the way that the Celtics play. So he's never really shown us that he is that kind of person. So I'm not personally worried about that. I am worried about the narrative through the media shifting in that direction, 10 days prior to his return, and just kind of like fucking up the vibes for the rest of us. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But yeah, you guys touched on it. Like, it would be just so far, why would you come back? What would be the point? Because we're not going anywhere anyway. Now it's simply, we're amazing. We really need you, mate. Like, come on board. Let's get this thing going. Let's go back to the finals. Simple as that.
Ben, I'm surprised you aren't, voicing any concern about bringing him back too soon. Like, because there's a big faction of people that are just worried about bringing him. There's a faction about people worried about him coming back because it's like dangerous. There's people that don't want to bring him back because he's not going to be like capable. And you've exhibited none of that, which is impressive and surprising. So I'm proud of you. Is there a specific reason for that though?
I just need the void in my life filled. The Jayson Tatum sized void. Just please come back. I trust him. I trust Nick Sang and the medical staff, the Australians that Drew and Scal mention all the time that we seem to not be able to get on this podcast. Unfortunately, apparently there's a big like iron curtain or something between us and the Australians on the Celtics. We can't reach them, but I trust them all, and I think he'll come back when he's ready. So I'm not worried. If it were Porzingis coming back after a year, of course, I would be fucking stressing out. I would have a lot less hair. I would not be sleeping at night. Valium today, sure. Maybe, yeah, it's my new prescription. That is the answer to your question, Jake. But I'm not worried. Not concerned.
So the Achilles thing that I mentioned before. So I mentioned this when Tatum went down. Drew Smith, who's playing for the Miami Heat, has played in every single game for the Miami Heat this season, tore his Achilles late December last year, and played preseason, has played every game, and is literally having a career year. Like Drew Smith has played 969 total minutes in his career. 412 of those are this season, and a lot of that's built off his defense. That's what's like. He's not an offensive. He's averaging. What is he averaging? He's averaging 6 points a game. He's playing 17 minutes a night for the Heat, who have been really good this season, all 24 of their games.
It's a good fact.
That's there's no, I think we're just at a point with medical recovery that you don't like KD didn't come back for a while, but that was like in the midst of this weird COVID zone. Like he didn't come back to the bubble, but he came back and was basically close to peak Kevin Durant and was a lot older. I've mentioned Cam Akers came back in like 6 months and played NFL running back. Like Drew Smith, who we're talking about right here. There's plenty of examples. No, none of these Twitter doctors seem to be concerned about him coming back and really being concerned that he's not going to be able to return to like very close to the player that he was previously. So you bring him back when he's ready and not before that. And I just don't think that they would. There's just so much time. Like the original timeline was like 9 months, which brought you pretty much right to the All-Star break from the beginning. And I think we're just on track for that still. So keep playing like that. And then the question is, do you bring him in? Do you start him? Or do you bring him in off the bench? But I'm
G League.
Yeah.
LeBron did it.
Kid.
Yeah. Yeah, the main Celtics development pipeline. Stick him in it. Let's see what happens.
Him and Amari Williams running pick and roll.
Oh,
Yeah, we'll get to Amari Williams in a little bit, but I think we can move on as much as I'd love to talk about. Man, coming off the Jordan Walsh talk straight into the Tatum talk, that's living. We're having a good time.
Damn right.
All right, next
there'll
one.
be a lot of time for that. Once he goes from out to doubtful, like that first time, that's gonna be that's an emergency pod.
Emergency live stream. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was just going to say that. All right, next one. Boston Celtics own the number 3 ranked offense versus top 10 defenses this season, averaging 121.3 points per 100 possessions. Take a breath. Behind only Denver and the Lakers, ahead of OKC, and have also played way more games against top 10 defenses than any of those teams. Like I think we played 10 games and the rest of them have played like between 5 and 7. So
Wow.
This is more Celtics exceptionalism, like more just we are awesome. We don't have to spend a lot of time on this one because we've kind of organically touched on why this is a thing. But yeah, Celtics, awesome, no matter which way you slice it. I don't know if you guys have got any takes, or we can move on.
Yeah, well, the Spoonie, like we talked about how the mid-range shooting was going to come back a little bit. Jalen has started to cool off slightly from the mid-range, but he's replaced it with getting to the free throw line more, as Steven and me were talking about in the Discord last night. Yeah, he's just like getting to the line more. And whether that's because of the complaining, I was watching a little bit more of his drives yesterday, and like, man, he's just so powerful getting down there, but I can't really notice a huge difference to my like general eye test versus like earlier in the year. But he's just getting to the free throw line more. And like for example, last night he went 9 for 9. And if he's going to be 75% from the free throw line and getting to the line 7-8 times a night, then that's going to make up for the mid-range efficiency coming down. And then Pritchard, I think Pritchard's probably just an elite mid-range shooter. And when a lot of your shots are coming from him, then that's probably going to maintain to an extent. And then Derek White was never going to miss that many shots. And now he's just back to being like a guy that can hit tough shots again. So maybe it kind of evens out.
Yeah, and I think look, offensive rebounding is defense proof. Like when you get an offensive rebound, your points per possession absolutely skyrockets. And we're top 10 in forcing turnovers, and transition is a great way to get easy buckets. And then you combine that with, there is a lot of offensive talent on this team all of a sudden now that Josh Minot and Jordan Walsh are hitting open threes. And like, I was always worried about the spacing, but that hasn't been a problem. Even when Derek's not making shots or Peyton wasn't making shots, they get guarded. So there is spacing. And then like Kata's screen setting, the way he's rolling hard to the rim has really opened things up in a way I wasn't totally expecting. And Minot being able to let us play 5 out as the backup center or roam in the dunker spot, as like the concern was like, holy shit, are we relying on Luka Garza for 20 minutes a night? Like, what is that going to look like? Well, we're not. And Minot's doing a really great job. And, you know, it really juices the offense when he's out there. And Kate has done a great job, man. Like a really, really good job being sort of the primary screen setter and handoff guy. And then you just combine that with like every possession. You know, we went over it in the underrated plays video, like check that out. It's like every possession, there's multiple double screens, staggered screens, screens on the backside. Like the offense, it reminds me of how Cleveland was playing last year, where they were really moving and setting screens and getting guys involved. And like that's just really hard to guard, especially in the regular season. So it's been awesome. I like I can't believe we're that good against top 10 defenses too. You know what I mean? Like I could see this team like beating up the Nets, but the fact that we're going toe to toe with the Timberwolves of the league and looking great is a really damn good sign.
Yeah, go watch those underrated plays videos, or the most recent one if you haven't already, because it's a good sort of summary of a lot of what you guys just talked about. But like those like weak side screening actions, while all the defensive focus is on like Jaylen Brown on the strong side with the ball. Celtics flow state, I think you called it, which is kind of cool. But yeah, definitely go check that out. Jake, did you have something before we move on?
Yeah, on the offense as well, and like something I went back when I watched like all the Derek White highlights last night and possessions because of course I did.
Yeah, right.
And something
FaceTime.
You mentioned it recently, Spoony, like the development of the Cater D White 2-man game and how they're just like flipping screens, rescreen, basically just until they get it going. And Derek's been so good at finding him in tight windows, like for alley-oops or whatever. And so that's, I think, contributing to the offense being awesome. Cater as the roll man, 1.30 points per possession. That's the 72nd percentile overall. But like when you look at volume wise, he's guys that are at the top of the league volume wise. He's right at the top of the list when it comes to points per possession, ahead of Şengün, ahead of Jokic as the roll man, ahead of Hartenstein, Jakob Poeltl, Jaren Jackson Hayes playing with Luka, Anthony Davis, Towns. Like that's
Cater.
And a lot of that's Derek White and Pritchard as well, finding him too, and Jaylen obviously. But like Cater significantly improved as a screener. I'm not sure if the touch has improved or if the shot quality and difficulty is just so much easier. I think it's the touch slowly improving, but the looks, there's so many dunks. And he's fucking huge and athletic. So I like that he just gets the ball. I do kind of trust him when he's right under the basket and he's like kind of finishing layups. It's like the hook stuff that has not been, but he's kind of gone away from the hook. And that's maybe why the field goal percentage is going up. The floater, seems to be getting better at, but yeah, just overall putting the ball in the basket, he's improved at. And Derek White and him have formed a nice little 2-man game.
Yeah, the player, like the live player development across the board is what's got like the Sam Vecinis and Jason Timps of the world, like celebrating the Celtics sort of like infrastructure, their organizational infrastructure, because it shows in like sort of multiple facets. And the fact that we've seen like in-season improvements over a quarter of a season from many guys is insane. And like, yeah, it's just another Celtics exceptionalism thing. But yeah, I feel like this is eye test for me, but Cater, his touch around the basket has improved, like you were saying, Jake. Also, just Pritchard and White learning how to cook in this new ecosystem. I like my favorite bucket in the NBA is Peyton Pritchard, like getting into the paint, using his body to create like really not that much space when you consider like the height of the average NBA player, especially relative to Peyton Pritchard's height. And then he just kind of like fades back and is just like absolute like withdraw all your money from the ATM, cash from the short mid range, every single time. There's like no more sort of aesthetically pleasing bucket than that. And like Pritchard just looks like more comfortable than ever in that specific scenario. And it can be like a Jaylen on the bench, late shot clock look for us to go to with like relatively consistent success as well. So offense, amazing. I'm having fun. So I'll probably hit on one more with like some detail, and then we'll just quickly rattle off the rest because we're going to run out of time. But Jaylen Brown, who is your Eastern Conference Player of the Week, that's not even the fun fact. He's currently having the third highest scoring season in the history of the Boston Celtics.
Damn,
long way to go, but so he's third at 29.1 points per game. Ahead of him in second, Larry Bird, second, 29.9 points per game. And then first overall, Jayson Tatum, 30.1 points per game. We've got the full list if you want to have a look at the top 10 currently. Some pretty spicy names.
Pretty good names.
Yeah, not bad at all. But Jaylen Brown, well, I guess maybe relative to expectations, that's where the conversation around Jaylen falls off a little bit. As I say that, you obviously did just get Eastern Conference Player of the Week, but we, to some degree, just always expect him to be some degree of awesome. I think he's definitely at the top end of whatever the awesome spectrum is that we imagined for him, which is great. And it starts to fuel those conversations around like, fuck, okay, like what does this look like when Jayson Tatum comes back? This is really exciting because JB, who has had long stretches of poor health, is incredibly healthy, incredibly efficient, and his playmaking has never looked better. Like, what's this all going to look like when the big man comes back? But the big fella, he's not a big man. Anyway, I digress.
He's big
Jayson
though.
Tatum.
He's a big
he is
man.
quite
Large
big. Yeah.
person. Thank you for jumping in there. But yeah, Jaylen's been exceptional. He's starting to get some more broad recognition around the league, and you just love to see it.
Yeah, Jaylen definitely got better again. I think the power and strength blended with the touch is just so impressive to me and so hard to stop. Like, he just gets his shoulders into guys and when he gets around the basket, I feel so confident in these like little floater, like either hand type of shots. And the turnovers are slightly up, but they're not catastrophic. I think usage wise, like I think that was the number we talked about, right? Can he keep it below 4? And he's like in that 3.5 to 3.7 range every game. That's just totally fine. When you're going to have the type of usage that Jaylen has, that's just not a number that worries me in the slightest, as evidenced by the 4th overall offense. And so I love the way that he's playing. He made All NBA in the year that he qualified for the Supermax contract, but that was more he kind of snuck on from a positional thing. Now it's positionless, and it's harder to make it because you can't like kind of finagle the positions. He is has been a top 10 player this year, and especially when you account for games played, which is one of the most important things. Is why Tatum and Jaylen have been so successful in this league, is that for the majority of their existence, they've been here for 65, 70 plus games and just rack up points, rebounds, assists, guard it, every position rebound. And he's doing it all while missing one game against the Wizards.
Yeah, man. Career high in free throws per game, career high in free throw percentage per game. I feel like something people haven't been talking about. He's creeping towards 80% from the line, which and previous career high, I think 76.5. He's at 78.5. Career high in assists, career high in potential assists. He's up a full potential assist from last year. And just like, but being Jaylen Brown. And that was always what concerned me. And I know I've talked about it. We've talked about it, is that like, we can't just have him try and do a Tatum impression because he's a different player with different strengths and different weaknesses. And that's not what's happening. And yeah, you said it, Jake, like his first step is so back. Like, it's ridiculous. Nobody can stay in front of him when he just gets like an inch of space and he's just blowing by you. And if you're on his shoulder, you have absolutely no chance because you're just going to bounce off him and he's going to get all the way to the rim. And he's been generally making the right reads. I feel like his turnovers, it's not been like oh, you got picked by the nail help and now it's going the other way. It's like, oh, it's an offensive foul or a charge, or like, hey, maybe it threw it out of bounds or something. It doesn't feel as loud this season when he has them, and plus he's just on the ball more too. And the fact that, they're up, but they're not catastrophically up, I think is a really great sign. The defense has come and gone, but that's just something I'm never going to be worried about with Jaylen, because when the lights are the brightest, we know what he can do in like the NBA finals. So he's just been so damn good. And I think he's truly setting the tone with how hard these guys are playing, because he's playing his ass off. And that's what you need. And that is kind of the foundation of this team. And it starts with your best player playing hard.
Absolutely. It's back to feeling like a guaranteed bucket as well when you see JB just like streaking out there in transition. Wasn't always, it certainly felt like the case for most of his career outside of his rookie season. Didn't always feel like the case last year. So it's like a great indicator that there are many indicators now that he's back to full health, but that is probably the best one. And, no matter the amount of defenders that are crowding him in the paint as he's streaking out there in transition, it just always feels like guaranteed bucket or at least a guaranteed trip to the line. So love to see it.
This is a great point from Ben Paps in the chat.
Yeah.
He absolutely is a chip on his shoulder guy and plays best. Like after the 2023 Heat series, comes back and has the best year of his career and wins Finals MVP. The next year, everyone's talking about how great he is and how great the Celtics are. I mean, the reality is he needed meniscus surgery, and that's why he wasn't good in the playoffs. But didn't have the best overall year last year. And now it's like you can't be the number one. You can't. Tatum's gone, and now he literally is a second-team All-NBA guy right now and averaging 30 a night because he's a fucking god.
Well said. So that was 5, actually, not 6. So let me rattle off 5 more very quickly, and you guys can just pick one that you want to expand on, if at all, or we could just call it a day. But so that this is not false advertising, here's 5 more awesome things about the current day Celtics. So the Celtics now have the most wins in the NBA versus teams 500 or better. So 9 of their 15 wins are against good teams. That's one. The Celtics are in a position to trade for Ivica Zubac, maybe Anthony Simons, and our 2026 first round pick for Zubac and Chris Dunn. Maybe throw in the 2028 Spurs swap. Maybe get it done. It's going to be quite a market for the guy. Anyway, that's one. Amari Williams averaging 12, 11, and 5 in the G League and just had a triple-double either earlier today or last night. In this world where we do not have a lot of big man depth, we've got this guy in that aforementioned development pipeline doing quite well. Joe Mazzulla. This is not a fact. Well, maybe it is a fact. He has to be in serious consideration for Coach of the Year, I think, at this point. That hasn't sort of the initial sort of spread of reporting on end-of-year awards, probably a little bit premature for that, but I think absolutely has to be in the upper echelon of consideration rather. And then finally, Baylor Scheinman no longer sucks. That is also a fact. That is maybe more surprising than the Walshy trajectory as well, that suddenly Scheinman does not suck. So I threw 5 at you there, guys. Does anything sort of stand out to you as worth expanding on before we wrap this one up?
Take your pick, Spoons.
Okay, I actually kind of have one to add on to that, if I may.
Perfect.
Okay. We do not have a backup center that is a viable NBA player.
Correct.
We're plus 13 when Josh Minot plays center. Like, we are screwed without Josh Minot randomly being able to be a solid backup center. Like, that is crazy. We're like minus 20 net rating when Luka Garza plays. Untenable, absolutely, like, sinks your entire team in 15 minutes a game. Minot, we're blowing teams off the floor when he's out there. Like, we were worried about backup center, and all of a sudden this guy just shows up as a 6'8", 6'9" wing, and he's like, I got you, boys. That's huge, and I think it goes to Joe Mazzulla, Coach of the Year, that you brought up, Ben, is that he's on the fly designing schemes. He's not making the players fit his scheme. He's redesigning his schemes to fit the players, and that's a huge part of why this team looks so good. So I think, to your point, Ben, like, Mazzulla is absolutely going to start getting some more Coach of the Year buzz. I just don't think everybody is quite caught on how goddamn good we're playing right now.
Yeah, it's been funny. It's been percolating. Like, Jordan Walsh got a mention on the Zach Lowe podcast, and
yes,
again on the game. It's happening now. And I wonder if it like, because we have this weird schedule quirk with the NBA Cup now, as everybody there's less games every day. I wonder if everybody takes like a step back and it's like, oh, the Celtics are the 3rd seed. And it's because Jordan Walsh is awesome and because Josh Minot can play center. Yeah. Joe Mazzulla should probably be the Coach of the Year as it stands today.
Yeah, I've been sort of clocking who in the broader media sphere has been like onto us, like earliest. And I think Zach Lowe and I can't remember who the guest was, but
Mo Tequil.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
and they were both
he's
just
good.
like, oh, well, someone's going on here. And then it's kind of built out from there. Bill Simmons, I think, would love to say a lot more, but it seems to be holding back a little bit, which has kind of been typical of him for the last, 10 years or so. But plenty going on. That is amazing about the Celtics. Any parting thoughts, guys, before we wrap this one up?
The shot that Derek White hit yesterday, where he like picked it up off the ground and spun in a circle and then hit it, it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
That's it.
it's so, yeah, that was so awesome. The whole fourth quarter was so awesome. And Jake and I talked about it a little bit, but like I'm just like back to being so excited to watch them play basketball. And they had drained, like I wasn't really there at the beginning of the year, and like I'm so back on board, and it feels so damn good.
Feels amazing. Hope everyone enjoyed that one. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back later in the week. Spoonie, Jake, love your work, guys. Until next time, go Celts.